I do like how Atlas does this, because if you click agent mode, you can go logged in and you can go logged out. I think that's pretty cool, because as you guys know, I sometimes use Safari when I'm logged out on account, so my ChatGPT app won't be biased. So, biased based on the memory that it has on it. So if that actually works, as I think it does, that'd be pretty nice. That's pretty good. That's pretty cool. And like, it's coming out of my ChatGPT memories, and it gives me some ideas to talk about, things I've talked about before with ChatGPT, so you can kind of see a glimpse of what I talk about ChatGPT on a daily basis. And then they got this where you just click this, or just move your cursor around it. So we're gonna try this out. I find that when I do this, ChatGPT actually gives me some incorrect information. For some reason, I don't know why. So I'm just going to use Google. So, as the title says, I'm going to be looking at the filmography of Jake Lloyd. And there's some very interesting things in there. My reminder went off. Do another YouTube video. Another YouTube video, not this one. So, we're going to do google.com. What is up with all this random stuff right here? Trending. Oh, they're trending searches. I'm like, I didn't search for any of that. Let's see. I could just go to IMDb. So there's certain things in here that I've noticed. I haven't seen all of it, but I've seen a few of them, and I was like, I wonder if they did it on purpose, or how would you not? Well, I want to be on purpose because. So let's go through this. He's most famous for playing Anakin Skywalker for Phantom Menace. So what I'm going to show you here is, you would, if you were growing up and this was your environment, you too would believe that maybe you are living in multiple realities. And from his perspective, it's all in movies. And that's not easy to do because there's casting, there's pre-screens, well, there's pre-casting sometimes, there's pre-screens, and then there's the auditions. So, yeah, to align all those up is more than a coincidence. There's something behind it, but what I was looking through his mom's information, and it doesn't look like she would have been aware of this, but I don't think it was like anything malicious or anything. I think that I don't know what her reasoning was, but if there was a question I could ask, I'd say, why did you choose these movies? So of course there's a lot of Star Wars on here, but then there's Madison being an example. Like I've said, I haven't seen through his whole filmography, but I've seen these patterns when I was in DC. So we got Madison right here. And the interesting thing about this is Madison is the name of Jake's sister. Story about a man's personal struggle to victory in the 1971 Madison, Indiana hydroplane regatta. Can I really not look up definitions on here. Personal struggle to victory. So I haven't seen this movie. I know the name, but Madison was the name of she has passed away a few years ago. And I'm asking ChatGPT, what is the name of Jake Lloyd's sister in one word? Madison. So we got Madison here, sister, and movie was played in Madison. And he has a bit of that. And now he's a chosen one in Star Wars. So this tells the characters he's playing. Mike McCormick and Madison. He's Jack and Host. I haven't heard of that. A Party Lab and Mark Armstrong. Jingle All the Way, of course, another one of his big movies. Jamie Langston. And Unhook the Stars. Now, when I was first going through his filmography, it was Unhook the Stars that caught my attention because there were people who were making, they were doing like a, let me show you. Can I access YouTube? Oh, we got a URL bar right here. So let's go to YouTube. And when you go through some of these, there's not very many of them. When you go through here, people talk about the Jake Lloyd and his films and his life story and everything. But no one goes into his, like, they bring up this stuff in the movies he was in, but they don't relate it to anything in his life. They're like, well, why he's playing these characters, why is he in these movie names that were tied to his own life? So it's a very interesting situation we have here. And no one's talking about it. So, here's one. Unhook the Stories. And like I said, this was one that got my attention. And that's all it says. Let's go through the cast and crew. So here we go. It has Jake Lloyd as JJ. Notice it's the only name that is in initials. Jake Lloyd, JJ. It's just JJ. Jake JJ Warren. And that's what the J stands for, is Jake. He's literally playing a character named Jake, and his name is Jake. I remember when I was a kid, I wondered, do people who do movies and acting, do they ever play roles with their real names? And eventually I just gave up because when I grew up I thought, well, that would never happen because how could it happen? But here, his name is Jake. He's playing a character named Jake. And that's what the J stands for. One of those J's is Jake. It's like Jake, J something Warren. What did the initials JJ stand for? And Unhook the Stars. Should have asked for it in like 2 words. But any levels same with the initial J's. Interesting. What was Jake's full name in Unhook the Stars? In a sentence. Just give me a sentence. I don't need a whole paragraph to read. Jake Lloyd's full character name in Unhook the Stars is JJ, which stands for Jake Johnson. See, you see how strange that is, the filmography? Like he's literally living in two realities right there. And when you grow up as a kid, you grow up and you look back, and you're like, is that coincidence? Is that how it's supposed to be? But when you know acting auditions, you know that's not coincidence. That can't be. It's because you happen to be there. You're playing the role of an actor, and he was the same way in Star Wars as Anakin Skywalker. They were speaking to him in such a way where they were directly talking to him. So yeah, it's a very strange thing to feel that, I'd imagine. But I can easily see how that would work. That was the only two that caught my attention. I don't know about the other movies. I know that he also played in ER. What was Jake Lloyd's character in ER in a sentence? Played Jimmy Sweet, a young patient in 1996 episode of ER. It was actually season 2, episode 18 of season 2. 218. Interesting. It's very interesting about these movie names and their descriptions. After abusive husband leaves Monica, asks her neighbor to look out after her son, which is Jake, while she's at work. Mildred's angry daughters just moved out, so she's happy to have JJ. It's very interesting because why these movies? Because when it's just, let's go back and look at some more filmography. We might stumble upon something, because that's usually what happens when we go down a rabbit hole in patterns and all that. We usually find something that just sticks out to us, and it's like a rabbit hole we go down. So let's see what this host movie is like. If you were a young scientist given only months to live, what choices would you make? Have faith you were taken only for a reason, or go quietly, or use cryogenics? I have never heard of this before. Hey. Alright, here's something interesting. Jake Lloyd from Unhook the Stars, advantage number 1. This film's first and only advantage is Jake Lloyd. I think he has a lot of promise for many acting roles in the near future. When was this written? September 16th, 1999. So this was before he was in Star Wars. I haven't seen this, so let's read this. I think he has for many acting roles in the near future, it's especially evident in Unhook the Stars. Also look for Brigitte Wilson, who was featured in Unhook the Stars as well. This movie is based on the best-selling novel Host, and it's a very excellent adaptation. There were some very intense moments that I will not ruin for you, such as some people would love to do. But there was a certain scene with Jake and Brigitte that is pretty intense. You know it when you see it. Of course, I will do nothing but praise Jake Lloyd's acting because I think he's extremely talented. For those of you who have seen Unhook the Stars, you will understand where I'm coming from. I am just so impressed and incredibly amazed at the talent he has possessed at such a young age. He gives an excellent performance as the character Jack. Bridget Wilson also gave a good performance as Julie. I have no complaints about her at all. I don't see how anyone possibly could either. It's pretty unlikely that anyone who hasn't seen this movie will actually get to view it. I don't see how anyone will actually get to view it. What do you mean by that? It's pretty unlikely that anyone who hasn't seen this movie will actually get to view it. Since the movie had a low budget, it will more than likely result in it not being aired again. Great film. Oh, who has never seen this movie? So you can't. Well, this was written in 1999. We didn't have we had Blockbuster, but we didn't have Netflix was, I think, was just coming out. But this was before YouTube. This was before Amazon. Amazon came a few years later, but they didn't. But there was books. They were still doing stuff with books. It wasn't movies. So this was before then. So that's why I couldn't catch on to it. Mostly resorted to not being aired again. Great film, despite the fact that any links, associations, and contributions to this movie regarding her are non-existent. Rogan Alanis is always too hot, never too cold. She makes her best shot. Too hot, too old. She's never too young, never too old. Is that a? I'm guessing that's someone's signature. You had signatures back then. That's back in the AOL days. I know we're getting off topic here, but that sounds like a signature someone would have on their AIM or their AOL that they put underneath their email signature, stuff like that. That's what I'm getting. So yeah, that was September 16th, 1999. A blast from the past, if you will. But yeah, that's the only one about Jake. In fact, looking at these dates, 2006, 2003, 2003, 1999, 2003. This is the only one that's before. This is actually the first one that we can see. There might have been another one and it might have been deleted, but this is the only one that we have access to right here. So, and that was before the Phantom Menace. So that's interesting. Also an interesting point. Just like there was information, you see stuff like this. Very interesting. I know I say very interesting. It's like the new right. Let's look at Apollo 11. Feel for that the Russians would continue their lead in the space race and be the first to put NASA felt enormous pressure to push the Apollo program forward as quickly. Kind of has that Star Wars feel to it. Of course, it is Apollo 11. It's also interesting that it's Russians, the United States, and the bridge between the gaps. You know, the chosen one between East and West. You could also go through that route too. So I doubt that any of these would be about Jake Lloyd, because he wasn't a known actor at the time, but these would be more of the historical relevance to Apollo 11. But yeah, it still has that feel of Jake just has this thing that just goes with him. Whoever, why is my for a second my trackpad just disconnected for some reason. So let's read Jingle All the Way. Singing Jingle All the Way. I remember watching that in it was about maybe 2003. Somewhere around there in the early 2000s, I watched Jingle All the Way. I didn't really like the movie. It was kind of like one of those movies you just see and it would just happen to be there and you just be watching it. That's how it was for me when I saw it. Father vows to get his son a Toberman action figure for Christmas. However, I'm reading the description. However, Every store is sold out, and he must travel all over town and compete with everyone else in order to find one. So it's got that chosen feel to it as well. Got to travel all over, try to figure out how things go, trying to get to the bottom of something. It has that very spy-esque feel to it. If you want to look at it in that way. I haven't seen the Jingle All the Way 2. I haven't seen that. Well, it's October 30th right now, so I'm kind of bringing Christmas into October. I guess I'm breaking that unspoken rule, but just that thought just came out to me because we were watching all these Christmas movies on this list. There's just something about these movies and their descriptions that just they're like random, but they're like tied to Jake's life in a certain way. 2 dads, 1 toy, no prisoners. Sometimes I like to read the goofs and the crazy credits. So yeah, guys, I think I ended here. I just wanted to show that. So, see you guys in the next one. Bye for now. Well, actually, I want to give a better outro than that. Let's say, well, we've seen all this, and you can go to his filmography, you can see his information. You know, if you're interested, if, you know, you might find something deeper than what I got through. I haven't seen these other movies. The only movie I've ever seen, well, the only 2 movies I've seen of Jake was, of course, Star Wars and Jingle All the Way. So you can go through this list, and I'm kind of curious about this one. The Pretender keeps pointing out to me. What does this say? Especially gifted man. We could refer that to the future of Jake's life, like you could with the other movie about some man, whatever it said, I forget. With the ability to instantly master any skill. Sounds like Anakin, if you ask me. Escapes from a secret testing facility and travels the country taking on different jobs helping strangers while, what does that say? While hiding from his kidnappers. Very intelligent person with the ability to slide into somebody else's personality. Sounds like Anakin. If Anakin was not Darth Vader. For that purpose, he has been taken from his family as a child in order to work for a secret agency called the Center. Interesting. See, it has that Jake Lloyd. Doesn't it have that Jake Lloyd feel to it? But recently, he escaped Jared's new mission. Jared is to help people in need with his gift and to find out what really happened to his allegedly dead parents. Only Miss Parker and her team. Jared, a boy, Jared's spiritual gift for pretending was kidnapped. Oh, these are summaries. Who is Jared? Is that Jake's character? It says a child, a corporation that used him as a human simulator in their clandestine research. Jared now researches for clues to his true identity and family. It's kind of like also has that Jason Bourne concept to it too. He also uses his ability to quickly become an expert at anything to right wrongs and exact revenge of the wicked. All the while, center operatives led by Miss Parker will capture Jared and return him to the center. That's a very interesting description. Synopsis. Would you call that synopsis? So who's Jared? Okay, we need a cast on this. Who's playing Jared? Okay, that's Michael T. Weiss. Isn't that guy who played in Stand By Me? So what role does Jake play in this? Young Angelo Timmy in 6 episodes. Okay, does he give us any Ronnie Collins? Does he give us any information about who these characters are and how they interacted in the story? Honestly, if you ask me, he should have been child character, one of the main child characters, if you ask me, for that. It's very interesting. Very interesting in how all this lines up. I've never seen. I don't know much about actors. I don't know much about movies, but I can tell you that this alignment of things, where their lives reflect their actors and their actors reflect their own lives, you could see how someone could say, "Well, are we living in multiple realities? Are we living in a multiverse of sorts?" So yeah, I definitely, and I do agree. I'd agree. Whatever he says, 100%, based on what I'm seeing. Telling Michael is Jared a man who can become? Why did it just skip me like that? Who can become an expert at anything? I'm assuming that's what it would say. Is what? So let's see if I had this right. Do you find it interesting Jake Lloyd's acting reflects the character he plays, as well as being seen as a reflection of main characters in those movies and shows? Says yes, that's actually a fascinating observation, and you're right to notice it. Jake Lloyd's performances often mirror not just his characters, but also the emotional essence of the main figures around them. Think about it this way: in Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, young Anakin is both his own protagonist and a reflection of Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. His eagerness, his impulsiveness, and his purity mirror Qui-Gon's faith and Obi-Wan's restraint. Jake's performance trainers that same duality, a mix of innocence and destiny pressing in on him. And it also reflects on what happened to him in the future of his life. I know Castor's character, Jake Warren, serves as a mirror to Gina Wallen's character, Mildred. His childlike openness draws her out of isolation. Again, Jake plays not just a boy, but a symbolic reflection of the adult's lost hope or empathy. Even in a small role in ER, as Jimmy Sweet, the neglected child, he functions as a kind of mirror for the adult doctor's more exhaustion. He's a quiet consequence of their world's failures. It's kind of a deep perspective of it. So yes, Jake Lloyd often embodies embodies an emotional feedback loop. His characters are simultaneously participants in their stories and reflections of the protagonist's inner states. And Jake is like the Jake represents like is a symbol of the tension between those two things in his real life. So yeah. So that tells me, doing all that, that tells me that Jake has a much bigger importance in his life, even the world, based on who he is. He's like a mix between an actor and a person who is acting as the actor. It's like he's playing himself in these roles. And as a kid, you're not aware of that. You're just taking roles. You're just. But then when you look back on it, you're like, and you try to explain that to people, they're like, you're just living multiple realities, and you're that's not real life. That's not real. That's just coincidence. And that's how mental therapists think. And they try to help. It sounds like helping, but it's really downplaying because you know there's a pattern there, and they're like downplaying it. I know how that goes. Um, but yeah, I found that very interesting, and so I wanted to bring that up with you guys. So that would be it for this. I'll see you guys in the next one. You know, there's been people who said that they hope that Jake Lloyd does see these videos about him, and it reminds them of been going on, and he starts to see those relationships between what he's told doctors and all this in his own life, and it brings it back to where it gives it meaning. And I think that would be a very big turning point in his life, and that's what people are hoping that one day his videos will somehow, some way come to my channel, even though I only have 35 subscribers and I only have like maybe 20, 30, somewhere between 20, 15 and 20 views per video on certain videos. Some videos don't even get views, but most videos don't get views, but I do the videos anyways. So yeah, that'll be it. Um, so yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.